Welcome back. Nice to see you. Come on in. Let's have a chat. Why don't we have a cup of tea first? Always makes you feel better when you have a cup of tea. Welcome to my office. So glad you could join me again. You joined me on a day when I am struggling a fair bit. So the ice pack might come out, and it is extremely handy to numb the pain. And it is excruciating. So, today's video, will you look okay? Most of the time, I can manage to get up in the morning, I can manage to do my hair, put my makeup on and get dressed. All with that excruciating pain that you've clearly just witnessed. But you look okay. People don't see that pain. And it is debilitating when it happens. Thank you so much again for joining me, and to the subscribers that I've already got. I know it's a new channel, so I just wanted to say thank you so much. What is MS then? People have heard about it. Multiple sclerosis. Often that word is associated with wheelchairs, with carers, with not being able to do anything, not being able to walk, really. And that isn't always the case. MS is an autoimmune disease. There is no cure for it. There are medications, which we'll go into a bit later, that can help to try and combat the disease progressing. But ultimately, it is a degenerative, that's easy for me to say, disease that doesn't get better. It attacks the nerves and strips the myelin sheath off your nerves. So if you imagine if you've got a wire, say you're wiring a electricity for a light bulb, and you've got that plastic coating over the wire inside, that's kind of what your nerves look like. And with MS, that attacks that plastic coating, which exposes the nerve, and that's what causes the pain. The pain can be anything from tingling, numbness, this that I'm experiencing now, which is slightly different, but I will go into that again a little bit later on. With MS, there comes lots of other issues as well. Fatigue being a major one. It's a major one for me. I always feel tired, no matter what time I go to bed, no matter if I have a lie-in, no matter if I sit on the sofa and read a book all day, I am still tired. And it's not just tired, it's fatigue. But you go to work, your colleagues, morning, how are you? Yeah, I'm tired. Oh yeah, I know, I'm tired too. But you say, no, I'm like fatigued, really tired. I know it's hard, isn't it? But you're doing so well because you look okay. And I know what people don't understand, and it's just one of those things. They don't care. I don't bother me. I'm not bothered. Alright, but it's just that misunderstanding that sometimes people need to know. There are lots of other issues which come with MS: dizziness, cognitive issues, slurred speech. I know some people have been like kicked out of places because they thought they were drunk, because they were slurring the words and they couldn't walk properly. Not the case. It is a symptom of MS. And there are so many more, and everybody with MS is so different. For me, like I said, the biggest thing is the fatigue, the nerve pain, which is absolutely debilitating, as you can see. So let's have a cup of tea. And that is an absolutely instant relief. But you still look okay. Well, maybe I don't to you now, but that's what you get. So, how was I diagnosed with MS then? So, diagnosis. That kettle needs to sit still. There we go. Okay. 15 years ago, diagnosed with MS. I had just qualified as a secondary school teacher. I had 2 young children, full-time new job, my husband working full-time as well, busy family life, running around, kids' activities after school, kids' activities on a weekend. I had gone to work, it was the November time, I believe, and I had a pain in my eye, uncomfortable pain, which just didn't go away. So I phoned my GP. He said, right, come straight down. So after work, straight down to my GP. Guys, I'm so sorry, but this is the reality. Oh, give me a minute, I'll be back. So, where was I? Yeah, GP. He sent me straight to DRI and phoned my husband. He left work immediately. The kids were with my mum, luckily. Went to DRI and they gave me some drops and said I had an infection at the back of my eye. So I went home, took the drops, carried on. I was so tired at this point. I remember picking the kids up from school. We'd got home. I'd made them a snack and they were sitting on the carpet with the TV on, watching their cartoons just as it was starting to get dark. So again, it was about November time. The blinds of the living room were still open, so I could see dusk beginning. I sat on the sofa and I cried and I sobbed quietly while the kids were eating the snacks and watching their TV. I cried because I was so tired. I didn't know why I was so tired. The eye infection, so to speak, didn't get any better. So again, you go back to your GP, who then sent me to the eye clinic at the hospital. And I saw a lovely young doctor called Mr. Jayamani, and he became my eye clinic doctor for a good number of years after that. He put the drops in my eyes to widen my pupils, to have a look, wrote something down on a piece of paper and said, you need to go for a blood test. So off I went down to have a blood test. And as you do, don't know if you do, I do, I read what he'd written on the piece of paper, and can't quite remember the ins and outs, but it said something like optic neuritis. Never heard of that before. So I went for the blood test, did everything I needed to do, and went home. So the first thing I did when I got home, Google optic neuritis, and one of the first things it came up with was MS. So chatting to my husband, as you do on an evening, we were having long chats about the diagnosis, potentially. At this point, only a neurologist can actually diagnose MS, so I was quite a long way off that at that point. My eyes were getting worse, so I went back to the hospital. At this point, my left eye had also gone, so I'd stopped driving. My mum actually took me to do the eye clinic that day. We didn't see Mr. Germani, we saw a different doctor. I can't quite remember his name, but he was getting quite frustrated with us. And my mum, being quite forceful, he's like, right, she can't see, something needs to be done. So he says, right, I need to transfer you to Sheffield, Hallamshire tonight. He gave me my entire hospital notes. The nurse thankfully stopped him and said, I don't think you should be doing that. He got so frustrated with us anyway, and we caused about an hour delay in eye clinic. So if you were there that day, I apologise for that. So anyway, bear in mind I'd got 2 kids at home with my husband, and I was due to be going to Sheffield, Hallamshire that evening. So I went home, phoned Sheffield, Hallamshire and said, I can't get childcare for my kids until first thing in the morning, but I'll be there at 7 o'clock. The doctor did call me back. They wanted me in that evening, but he did say, okay, fine, fair enough, then we'll see you at 7 o'clock in the morning. So went to bed, obviously got the kids up, dropped them off at my dad's the following morning, and went over to Sheffield. At that point I was really quite poorly. I was struggling to see. We saw a consultant neurologist at that time. She was called Dr. Blank. She was absolutely lovely. First thing she asked me to do was read the letters like you get when you go for an eye test. And the only letter I could see clearly, well not even clearly, was the largest letter at the top, the letter A. Straight away she said to me, right, we're going to admit you to neurology, we need to get a lumbar puncture. At this point we kind of knew where it was going, but anyway, went up to the ward and waited for the lumbar puncture. This lumbar puncture was the most horrific thing I have ever had to do in my life. Bear in mind, I'd had 2 children without pain relief. Not bragging, by the way, but it was the most horrific experience I'd ever had. After a lumbar puncture, you're supposed to lay there for, I think it's 2 hours, and it's something to do with this severe headache that it can cause. So I laid there, and I was watching that clock, and on the strike of that 2nd hour I sat up in bed and said, right, I'm going home. Doctor's like, no you're not, you're staying here till the results in the morning. I'm like, no, I'm going home. I want to rest in my own bed. So I discharged myself, which was against medical advice, but I just wanted to be at home. So the following morning I got a call from the hospital to say that all my results were in and my GP would be contacting me soon. So sure enough, Dr. Jackson, lovely GP, she's no longer my GP, she retired some years ago now. She said, yep, your lumbar punctures are back, and they showed these I can't even pronounce the word. It's these bands that show up if MS if you have MS, sort of thing. Obviously Dr. Jackson can't confirm it's MS. She can't say anything about MS, neither could the hospital. It has to be a neurologist. But at that point we kind of knew that's where it was going. So she just said, well, you need to wait now for a hospital appointment, which did come through quite quickly. Got an appointment with Dr. Howell, who was the MS neurologist at the time, and went to see him. We had questions. He was quite calm when he spoke to me. He wasn't actually going to say the diagnosis. It was us that said it's MS, and he was kind of taken aback a little bit. He says, well, I wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. I said, well, we've done a lot of research, so we kind of know what it is. Just tell me. So yeah, he said, yes, you've got MS. I said, okay, let's talk treatments. And again, he was a little bit taken aback. I had done a lot of research on what kind of treatment I wanted, what kind of treatment, again, with 2 young kids, I would be comfortable with. So I chose a injection-based treatment, which was called cuppa, and it was an injection that I had to do every day. But because of the side effects of the injection, which eat away at different parts of your skin, I had to do them in various different parts of my body. So the tops of my legs, the tops of my bum, and the back of my arms, and my belly. It did get to the point over the years where I couldn't inject in the top of my arms anymore. It was just too painful. I was on Copaxone for many a happier years, 7, 8 years maybe, until an MRI showed that the medication was no longer working. And at that point I had to decide, okay, which way are we going to go? There was only one medication that had been recently licensed in the UK to help remitting relapsing MS, which is what I have, and this was a new drug that was licensed, which was extremely strong to try and stop the body attacking itself. So I agreed to that. The drug I am still taking it currently is called ocrelizumab, or Ocrevus for short. It's an infusion based drug which is given every 6 months intravenously into your arm, so you're admitted to hospital for the day, and that has been absolutely fine and working really well up until where I am now currently. I am at the moment in the middle of a relapse, as you can probably tell. I'm undergoing a few different hospital visits at the moment, and waiting for my MRI, which is not until November, and then that will give the consultant a good picture of what's actually happening, and whether there are any new lesions, to whether this drug is still working or not. So yeah, that's kind of my diagnosis journey, really. It's been a frustrating one. There's been challenges along the way. I have got, I must say though, an amazing support network at home. Out and about though, friends, not so much. You kind of, your friends get a little bit sick of asking you to come out, and you just can't be bothered. It's not really that you can't be bothered. It's just that when you get home, you just want to get your pajamas on, sit on the sofa and do nothing, because you've been so busy and so tired all day. Something I'm going to address in another video, which is an interesting concept called the spoon theory, and that is all about spending energy, but again, I'll come across that with you in another video. That's it, I think, for today, and I apologise for the delay in the speech, but the nerve pain is quite severe at the moment. I hope you enjoyed my little office today, where I've decided to video from. Nice cup of tea. So yeah, thanks for joining me again today. The next video I'm going to do is going to be out and about and how I access things out and about and how a day out would make me feel. So that'll be the next video, so you can join me on that one. But once again, thank you so much for joining me. Please, I can't stress enough, please just like and subscribe. It takes literally seconds to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. You can then get notifications as well if you click the bell button for when I upload new videos. Okay, this video might not be for everybody, and I get that. But I do thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.